All right, so this is gonna be me talking about She-Hulk. I'm gonna review episode two. I was gonna review episode one. I had it recorded and everything, but episode two was already coming out, so I was like, whatever. This is the first video I've ever done on the MCU shows. I've only watched WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I've missed all the other ones, and I have a lot of catching up to do, especially because they're like required viewing for the movies now. But anyway, quick thoughts on episode one. I did like the interactions between Hulk and She-Hulk. I do think that her origin was rushed and kind of lame. If it was a movie, it would have been more. It probably would have been more like the comic books where she's dying. He gives his blood to her to save her life. But instead, they just need to rush job it. It's a Sakaran ship, runs him off the road, giving a message to Hulk or whatever. It's like, all right, it's a means to an end. A lot of the comedy wasn't that great, but I did like the comedy between her and Bruce, which is the most of it. So whatever. I like Tatiana Maslany, who plays She-Hulk. I like her, so whatever. She does a good performance, and I like the character, even if there isn't much here up to this point. Even up to episode two, we'll get to that. It was definitely rushed, especially with at the end where it's the court case. It goes back to the court case. By the time it gets back there, I've forgotten all about it. And then I think what's her name, Jamila Jamil, Titania. She just comes in and just gets knocked out with one hit. It's kind of weird, like rushed editing, and it just I don't know. The first episode is fine, and I ended up liking it because of the connection between Hulk and She-Hulk, but it really wasn't much other than that.
It's easy.
Little punk.
So episode two, she is revealed to be She-Hulk. It's once again kind of rushed because she people want to see her and things like that, and she's She-Hulk and she's in a bar, she's drinking, and then she loses her job as a result of it. So she's kind of depressed and things like that. She feels like she did the right thing. Why is she being punished? And I felt that, but that feels like it should be really a whole episode instead of, especially with it only being 30 minutes, right? But instead, that's like a montage, and you get to see her talk to her family, and there's a couple jokes that are okay, like does Hawkeye go around and collect his arrows afterward? Like that was kind of funny, right? I thought about that before, some kind of meta stuff there. But mainly it's between her and the father where it's kind of endearing in a way. They seem to have kind of a close relationship. The other characters in the family, I mean, I don't really care. And she's there with her friend, who is the stereotypical, oh girl, yeah, you got this. The one that's just congratulating her and yeah, I don't know, hyping her up and things like that, but doesn't really seem to have much of a storyline of her own. She's there just to be the supportive friend, and that's it. And she's helping her get a new job and things like that. The company, whatever, that she was going after in that court case in the first episode that we barely saw, they approach her and like, hey, we want to do a superhuman, lawyer division or whatever, like defend superpowered people and things like that. And you were so good. I mean, you were, you had a winning case against us, and so we know you're good at this, and you're the She-Hulk, so we want you to do it. You'd be perfect for it. And this is, once again, a feeling of being rushed because in the first episode, they barely really showed that court case. So I didn't really get a feel for her having a winning case against them. Not really, not that much at least. So it doesn't really feel, all that natural or earned, but whatever. So she's gonna go work with them, but they want her to represent Abomination, right? Because he's making some good points that the government is the one that did this to them, and they caused him to do all these things that he's in max prison for, which he makes a really good point. It's probably the most clever part of the whole show. She's apprehensive of representing him, but then he lays out, his case, and she's like, you know what? There might be something to this. And, she calls Bruce. He's on a spaceship. Somehow he gets service to talk to her on the phone in a spaceship. Whatever. Whatever. Uh, and Bruce is perfectly okay with it. There's another meta joke where he's like, I'm a completely different person now since Incredible Hulk. Because it's the same Abomination from Incredible Hulk, and he even makes references to it, so that's still canon with this Hulk. but obviously it's a different actor, so it's kind of funny. I didn't really like the whole namaste thing. It's a little too much, but like I said, it is probably the most clever thing so far is him laying out his case and actually it actually being reasonable. So she decides to take his case, but on the news or something, they're showing that he was in that cage fight in Shang-Chi with Wong, that random cameo that meant nothing. They put that in the trailer. People were like, oh my God, Abomination. And really, the trailer showed almost all of it. It was nothing, really. It was just a little exchange between him and Wong. There was no context behind it. How he got out of prison, who knows? We'll find out later on, but whatever. That's how the show ends. I mean, there's not really much to it. That's, like I've said about it being rushed. I mean, obviously that's an issue, but there's just not much to it. Like, these episodes needed to be longer, right? You needed to actually start up the case with Abomination in this episode in order for it to really leave an impact. That's the issue. These episodes so far are not leaving an impact. Yeah, I get it. They're these light side stories, but they should still feel like they have at least a little bit of weight to them. Like each episode, I should feel like I watched an episode of a show. Here, I feel like I watched an incomplete episode of a show, right? Like where there's not enough to it to really truly feel like I watched an episode of a show. There's nothing to it. It just feels completely weightless. Like I said, I like Tatiana Maslany. I like that in this episode she feels a lot more down to earth. You get to see her in her day to day life, and you kind of do see that she is kind of like this normal lady, not nothing really special about her, and then she's kind of thrown into this world, and she doesn't really want to be in it, but she does kind of enjoy the attention that she's getting now, which I think is going to be a plot point throughout the show, right? Where she's, you know, certain guys, and she has issues with guys, but as the She-Hulk, guys will just be lining up, right? So that's going to be something going forward, and I do get that, and I think that's been done for the most part pretty well. More negatives, this CGI, and I was okay with it in the first episode because it's just her and Hulk. But even Hulk, sometimes when he's around normal people, as much as they pretty much got that locked down, uh, he still kind of feels fake. They haven't got it to the point of Hulk, so now whenever she's around humans, she really stands out. All right, it's one of those CG creations where there's no weight to her. She walks down the hallway at this new firm or whatever, and it feels like she's almost gliding. It doesn't work. And then she feels uncanny based on, and other people have pointed this out, her hair. Sometimes her hair moves. Sometimes that shit is completely stationary. That shit is not moving at all. Like, and it just looks fucking weird, man. I'm sorry. That when she's sitting right at the beginning, when she comes into the bar and she almost glides in, and she's sitting there with a friend talking, and her face isn't moving right, and she looks, and you're automatically comparing her to her friend who's across the table from her, or from the people in the bar, and it's like, this doesn't look right. She doesn't look right in the clothes she's wearing, because she's just wearing her clothes, her regular clothes, because she just turns into She-Hulk. She's not wearing like anything that stretches out or anything like she was doing in the first episode with Hulk. So it looks really off, just really off. Ah, the CG definitely needed work. It could have worked if you'd given it more detail, spent some more time on it, spent some more money on it. Right? The whole thing with the visual effects artists and things like that that's been going on. It could have worked, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't know. That's it for the most part. Nothing really truly happens in this episode. I feel like that's going to be the case in all the episodes, where there's so little in each one and it leaves so little impact, that in order for you to truly get a feeling of certain storylines and things, you're going to need two episodes instead of one, right? Whereas they could have probably combined two episodes, and maybe you get more of a feel of feeling like you actually watched something with with substance. But whatever, the comedy for the most part isn't fully working for me, to the point where it feels like it's supposed to be a comedy sitcom, but there aren't even that many jokes, really. There really aren't. Like, there was a couple moments with the family, like I said, some meta stuff, but other than that, I didn't really laugh that much, and it wasn't even like they were trying to make jokes to make me laugh. Right at this point, it doesn't even really feel like a sitcom. It feels like a Marvel show, or a lower tier movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that just happens to have jokes in it, which is most of the MCU at this point. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like I say. And the breaking the fourth wall thing, which she's known for doing, I guess she's been doing it for even longer than Deadpool, from what I hear. Uh, it's really, not that much of the show, to the point where it feels unnecessary, where you could have just left that out. All in all, the episode is once again fine. There were some enjoyable moments, and I like the lead, and I like She-Hulk, but you know, it does. There's nothing to it really. I'm just not. I'm not feeling anything. To the point where I'm probably not going to review any more of the episodes until the end, unless something really big happens. I guess it almost feels like a waste of time to even get on camera. But whatever. Yeah, the first episode was fine. This episode is also fine. Whatever. But anyway, that's She-Hulk episode 2, and I guess I kind of talked about episode 1 as well. And that's it. We're done.